Brotherhood of Thieves, right? Is that what it is?
So you have the Dark Brotherhood, who's the Assassin's Guild, and then you have
the Assassin's Guild. Yeah, that's what it is. The Guild.
That's the word.
Yes. Well, we're actually not the ones that enforce it, and so we have the same amount of information that you have about it. I said, what do you mean? As we sit here today, I still have not received even a single email from any of these representatives or senators that I have emailed. Action! Boom. Thank you for joining us this Salt of the Street pre-show episode 79. My name is Donovan.
I'm Colin.
We are happy to have you guys here. Thank you again for joining us. Today is Saturday. It is the 22nd of February, 2020.
Whoa, don't do that.
I bought my car on
222-2020.
I bought my car on 2/20/2020.
What? That's only going to happen
How you feel about
once
that?
In your life.
Yeah. So,
that is wild.
once again, thank you for joining us. We are obviously happy to be here. We are happy to have you guys here. Might be a dog murder before we leave here today.
Yep.
Just kidding. We will never harm animals. We love animals. This is recorded. We have to remember that.
Otherwise, we'll be the ire of Tina's next Super Bowl ad.
But we are happy to have everyone here today. We are going to have a pretty informal style show today that will still be incredibly informative. I promise you that. We are just kind of bagging it up and just going to kind of go with it. So
it's not like there's been a shortage of stuff to talk about the last couple of weeks.
No. We have some stuff here. Yeah. So we have like Rick Grinnell. He's the new director of national intelligence. So I want to talk a little bit about that. Money being reallocated for the wall. I finally watched part of the Barry Weiss Joe Rogan. We can talk like a little bit about Roger Stone probably, and all the shit that went around about that. We're talking about some Democratic debates. We have some big picture type stuff.
Dude, it's going to be epic.
We're just going to go for it today. There's a little bit of sports stuff that we're going to do. She's like, fuck this thing. It's like, I don't care about this. The Seahawks signed Greg Olsen to a 1-year, $7 million contract, tight end from Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like I recognize the name.
Yeah. Tight end from Carolina. So we're going to talk a little bit about sports, and it's going to be good. It's going to be real good. Let me ask you this: have you ever seen The Manchurian Candidate?
No, I haven't.
Oh, Colin!
Like I know of it, and I know what it's about, and all this stuff, but like never seen it.
Last Sunday, I went to work, and I watched The Manchurian Candidate while I was at work, while I'm working, and it instantly became in my top 5 movies of all time. It is instant favorite. It's fucking incredible.
What year
terrified the shit out of me. Early 2000s, I gotta imagine. Denzel Washington's fucking incredible. Liev Schreiber's in it. Meryl Streep is in it. It's fucking
Jesus.
Right, I had no idea. I knew that Denzel was in it, but I didn't know that all these other famous people were in it. John Voight.
Oh yeah,
he's in it. Yeah.
I love him.
Hell of people in this movie. And
2004.
There you go.
Why did I think it was so much earlier than that?
Because it's a remake of a movie from the 60s that Frank Sinatra was in. Okay. So there's an original with Frank Sinatra and then the remake with Denzel, and that's the one that I watched. And I'm sure the Frank Sinatra one is fucking great too, right? But as you already know, people who may not know, The Manchurian Candidate is essentially about a company, right, Manchurian Global, that becomes so powerful that it's able to secretly invest in mind control technology and then implant a candidate for vice president in the United States government. Fucking horrifying, right? So the movie's not even like a horror movie, but being in the world that we exist in, I was like, that's fucked up. That's really scary that we live in a world where Citizens United is a thing, right? A company can invest as much money in it as it wants in politics, and no one can say anything about it, right?
Because corporations are people, right?
And Manchurian Global is like a capital. What do they call that? Like a
capital gains. Or
yeah. Where they put up money for companies to
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know the term is right on the tip of my tongue, but so, companies that exist to
invest money in other companies, exactly. Yeah. And it's fucked up. It's really fucked up. Yeah. And so they're all mind controlled to be implanted to do things that this company wants, but they also forget everything as soon as they're done doing it. And so Denzel is like having dreams and piecing together shit for him to try and remember what's going on, and is having to try and access documents. And then he gets blocked off because he's in the military still at the time, and they're like, you're done. You're out. So he gets locked out. It's fucked up. The movie is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
So Denzel, he doesn't play the main character though. From the looks
Denzel,
of it, right?
he is. Him and Liev Schreiber kind of co-star in the movie, because Liev Schreiber is kind of like the main antagonist, and then Denzel's the protagonist. So,
this is the first build. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes when you look at IMDb, the cast is like it starts with like the main characters, and then it goes down, and sometimes it's not. So that's interesting. I love Liev Schreiber, man. He's awesome. Is he the VP?
Yes.
Because he can pull off that, like, I'm very handsome, but at the same time, I could be very American Psycho.
He's a Medal of Honor winner. And so recipient. And so he's received the Medal of Honor for his actions when he served with Denzel Washington. And then when he comes back, his mom, Meryl Streep, is a senator, and she convinces him to get involved and become the candidate for vice president for the Democratic Party. Man,
sounds better than the movie I watched this week.
Dude, it's really good. It's really, really good. I would 100% recommend it.
That's
for everybody out there.
The step brother of one of the doctors at my wife's clinic.
What?
Yeah.
Liev Schreiber?
Yeah. That's her step brother.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah. I swear to God, we've had this conversation before.
That's so weird.
It's like they don't have like a super tight relationship and stuff.
But they've met, and they were raised together,
like
right?
They share.
Or was it later in life that their parents?
I think they probably spent time when they were younger, but
fucking
I'm
weird,
not totally
dude.
Sure. It could have been one of those. One of the parents leaves and goes to start just another life.
Yeah,
I just can't remember off the top of my head. But
that's like Chris Pratt is from like Bothell, or something like that. Like he's from this area.
Yeah.
And so there's
him and what's her name? His ex-wife, the funny chick.
Yeah.
Oh, Scary Movie.
Yeah. What's her name?
Just Friends.
Anna Faris?
Anna Faris. There it is.
She's annoying as fuck.
I like her.
She annoys the piss out of me.
Her comedy is so like slapstick gaggy.
Yeah.
I like that one.
I used to like a Scary Movie a lot, like when I was a kid, and I would still, like, if I was at someone's house and they turned on Scary Movie, I wouldn't be like, no, I don't want to watch this. I would be like, damn, it's been a fucking minute, But I remember vividly when like Scary Movie 3 came out, and that one was like, it's like, this shit's getting bad. This is getting really bad.
The first one was great because it was like at the height of the spoof movement.
Yeah.
And the second one was okay. And then by the time the third one came out, I was definitely over that whole genre. Yeah. I watched King of New York this last week. Christopher Walken and Lawrence Fishburne.
Okay.
1990.
Yeah.
Just a good old New York City gangster movie.
Yeah.
But it was like not as awesome as I remember.
No.
I was kind of disappointed. And maybe it's because we have such amazing gangster movies. It's kind of like American Gangster, but just before American Gangster, just wasn't quite as good.
Do you think that we're just spoiled a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there was some interesting stuff, but it was it's like 1 hour and 45 minutes. And
that's pretty short.
Felt like it was a 3-hour long movie.
No, that's no good. Have you seen The Irishman? Have you watched it?
Not yet.
No, me either.
It's on my list. One of the guys that works for me just saw it, and he said it was great. He likes that real slow, methodical, cerebral type of movie.
Yeah.
And I do too if I'm in the right mood for it. But if I'm in the mood to watch like John Wick, I'm going to hate The Irishman.
I've never seen those movies. I've never seen any John Wick movie before.
Okay. First of all,
I remember when they like first came out and they were kind of like a joke, but then by the time that John Wick 3 came out, it was like a real thing that people were actually into it, and like it was cool and shit.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I was a late comer to it. I probably saw the first one maybe a month or so ago, month and a half, and then immediately watched the second one, and then just haven't gotten around to the third one yet. But they're ridiculously over the top. But they're so much fucking fun. It's like a modern day 80s action film for us, Not quite as Expendables, a little bit more storyline to that, but it's just so over the top. There's like a global, I don't know what you call them, like a group of assassins that are all part of this club.
Like
and they have
like an assassin's,
kind of like an
League of Assassins
type of thing.
Yeah. What the fuck do they call that in like Oblivion and Elder Scrolls? There's a name for that.
Oh yeah, the Brotherhood. Oh,
Brotherhood of Thieves, right? Is that what it is?
So you have the Dark Brotherhood, who's the Assassin's Guild, and then you have
the Assassin's Guild. Yeah, that's what it is. The guild.
That's the word.
Yes.
Yeah,
the Thieves Guild, the Assassin's Guild. Yeah,
except in the modern era, and they have like these crazy no safe or like safe zones that all these different assassins can be at, and there's like a hidden secret currency that they pay for all this shit for, and there's all these hardcore rules about like if you're going to be in the international hotel, that's what they call it, the international, then it's like a total safe zone. You guys can't kill each other, but you can get medical, you can get all the weapon stuff you need, place to crash, plan, all this cool stuff. Amazing characters, amazing actors. It is, I just can't speak highly enough of it. It is so much fucking fun.
That's very interesting.
I was pretty skeptical at first, and as soon as I watched it, I was like, oh, this is what the craze is all about. This is perfect.
Check that out. That sounds pretty all right.
And I mean, Keanu Reeves, bro.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I fuck with Keanu Reeves.
I'm trying to find that guy. I think you watched Deadwood, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's the main character in Deadwood, but he's definitely a big role in the John Wick series. And I'm trying to figure out his name.
I know who you're talking about.
Ian McShane?
Yeah.
McShane?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was also in that Neil Gaiman book that they made into a movie. Oh, what's it called? It's right behind it. American Gods. There it is. They made that into a TV show, and I think it was on Showtime originally, but they can get it anywhere now. It's about the ancient gods live among us.
Oh, okay.
And the only, most of them are like dying because their life supply, their lifeblood is based off of how many people believe in them.
Yeah.
And so a lot of them are all weakened, and then this guy gets kind of wrapped into this stuff, and, Ian McShane plays the Allfather. He plays Odin. Yeah, his name's Mr. Wednesday.
Oh.
It's pretty dope. I'm getting some bad feedback on something here. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know.
And we're back. Never mind.
All right.
I just fixed it. Whatever I did, I touched the right chord.
Don't worry about it, everyone. We should turn this just a little bit, like the top,
Oh yeah. Am I getting cut off?
Just a little. I gotta be right up in here.
Perfect.
Word. There we go. We're out here.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, everyone. Thank you again for watching, for joining us. We're out here. We also watched fucking Prisoners. Have you seen Prisoners?
No.
Oh, man.
Prisoners.
Prisoners is great. Prisoners had Jake Gyllenhaal, Hugh Jackman.
Of course it has.
Hugh Jackman, and Hugh Jackman's daughter gets kidnapped along with Terrence Howard's daughter. And Jake Gyllenhaal is a detective, and so he's the one that's working the case and shit.
Detective Loki?
Yes.
Interesting.
Isn't it? Yeah. It's based off a book, I think. I don't remember what the book is called, but I don't think it's called Prisoners. It might be. But anyway, that's a great fucking movie.
In 2013? Shit.
And then we also watched it. We saw it in theaters, but we watched it on TV the other day. And then we also watched Honey Boy. Have you heard about this movie?
Honey Boy? Oh my God. It's the ad on top of IMDb.
Oh,
Honey Boy.
So Honey Boy is a film written by Shia LaBeouf about his childhood experiences with his father. Fucked up, bro.
I think I heard about that when he did Hot Ones.
Yeah,
last.
It is a fucking great movie. He plays his dad. It's very, very good. It's very good. It is absolutely exceptional.
I feel like I've heard good things about it so far.
Yeah.
Shia LaBeouf might be a crazy person, but
he is.
That's because he's a crazy artistic dude. I mean, they're all a little off and possibly on the spectrum in some capacity.
It's really dark, There's obviously the experiences he had with his father were not overly positive, and so it's a little bit dark, but it's very, very good movie.
Very, very good.
Yeah, very, very good. So let's see here. When you were in school. And I don't remember why I wrote this down.
In the long ago.
In
the before time.
I wish that I would have wrote down why this got brought up, but one of the many podcasts I was listening to was talking about different variations of like active shooter and intruder drills, right?
Okay.
When you were in school, did you guys do any type of intruder drill?
Yeah, we had what we called lockdown drills.
Where you just like sit in the corner, right? And they like lock the rooms and stuff like that?
No, all we did, teachers locked the doors, and then we just kind of all just sat there and reviewed like where we're supposed to go during the all clear.
Oh.
And then it was like, okay, now that's done. Let's go out and meet on the field or whatever. It was one of those. Nothing really, that kind of thing wasn't really a big deal. It was, we had a couple legit lockdowns because there would be some kind of tweaker or something that was rolling by the school grounds just too close, and somebody called it in, and then they just safety precautions, just locked the school down, that kind of thing. Yeah. That, and I think we did it once for a cougar that had been spotted. That kind of stuff.
Yeah,
like traditional mental health people and dangerous animals that'll pick up small children.
And so when we did intruder drills when I was in school, the teachers would obviously lock all the doors, and then we would like gather in a corner on a wall, like, that was next to the door, so you couldn't be seen if you looked through the window of the door. And then afterwards, we would go out into the field. And so there's been, all kinds of talk about different variations of drills of this manner. And
is this like it's a shame that the kids have to do this these days?
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I feel very strongly there's nothing wrong with the intruder drill that we did. I think is fine. You should know what to do if something is going to happen, whether it's an active shooter or something else. Someone who just shouldn't be there. We had like a pack of dogs on our, like when I was in elementary school, like a bunch of dogs that were by the school once, and so they just closed the whole thing down. Like that's, I think, a cougar. Same thing. Like random shit. I fucking wish that I would have wrote it down. I feel like such an idiot. But whenever I was listening to, they were talking about, in some schools, it goes as far as like kids are like tackling teachers and stuff like that. And I've heard about schools that have like buckets of rocks in classrooms. Like that type of shit I think is excessive,
A little bit.
I think that that's like overly excessive. But I think that because it's talking about just freaking kids out, kids are scared because they're being taught this type of stuff. And so they're thinking that at any time, this could be happening to them. When in reality, it's statistically unlikely, statistically unlikely. It feels like it could happen at any moment, but statistically it's very unlikely, But so I don't think there's anything wrong. And I prefer that my son in school would at least have an idea of what to do for something like that to happen. But I don't at all think that it's his responsibility to work with other 7-year-olds to try and tackle someone who's attacking the school.
Yeah, no.
Like that's not something that I think that they should be doing, And I see how when that's the way that it's being presented, that's going to fucking scare a little kid,
Yeah.
And so I understand that. I think that that's excessive, but I think that there is a really easy middle ground, like I just talked about.
Yeah, right.
Knowing that if someone's walking through the school, this is where you should sit at inside of your classroom to try and be as safe as possible. I think that, I don't know, it's super tough. It's super tough. Like, what's the best way to keep your kids safe in school? If there's, assuming there's no way to, completely get rid of the factor of somebody of like an active shooter. What's the best way to do that? And off the top, the best way to do it is to have a fucking police officer there to take that motherfucker down, right? Makes people, again, very uncomfortable, which is against,
and sometimes doesn't exactly work real well,
as we've seen, you know. So there's, who fucking knows, but I don't think at all the best way is for a kid to be doing it,
Yeah.
But my point really is that I don't think that they're inherently bad, but framed the wrong way and obviously carried out the wrong way. It can be an extremely harmful experience that it's not positive at all. It's not going to get you the result that you want. It's just going to freak kids out. I
think there would be a right way and a wrong way to do it, and explaining to the kids why you're doing something like that, I think that's probably the most important part. Right. Like, we're just doing this just in case
so that
anything ever happened, just in case, so that you are not lacking nothing to like stop you from being prepared. There's no reason that you shouldn't be prepared for something like that. But if how you get to that point of preparedness is through, essentially terrorizing somebody, freaking them the fuck out. That's very counterintuitive, right? So yeah, it would be a very delicate balance, and God knows what the best way to actually address that real life situation is. Schools are some of the softest targets around.
Right.
Is there ways to maybe harden up the targets just in ways that are, structural or in landscaping or, when you're building new schools, maybe design them in a way that's not doesn't look like a giant corridor where all the masses funnel in and then funnel out, different, get rid of choke points, that kind of thing. I mean, there's all sorts you could do, but.
Someone in the comments said Kathy said that there are work cops at my junior and senior high in Florida. And I saw it, and I also don't think that having cops at a school is an inherently bad thing, especially in high school where you're more likely to have drugs and shit like that that's going to be at school. I think that that's far more reasonable, especially I think there's any number of reasons for a cop to be at a school or to have a school resource officer, one that's assigned to the school to be there every day. If your school is in a city or close to a city or just close to a fucking urban area, where there's high crime, there's any number of reasons that I think that it could be a good reason to have a cop there,
Dude, and I think you could open that up. I'm a big proponent of vocational training and stuff like that our education system is severely lacking.
Yeah.
And you could make it into an optional curriculum where, your resource office is staffed with not only on-due personnel, but you have classroom training to teach other kids who might be interested in law enforcement, and they can be part of the fucking school safety patrol. And I don't know, man, there's all sorts of stuff you could do with that to make it a little bit more acceptable.
Yeah.
The way it would be implemented. So it wouldn't be some kind of totalitarian, authoritarian kind of, just loaded up with cops. For one, that's not practical. And two, it's rather scary if all you're seeing all around is a bunch of cops just waiting for somebody to pop off.
Right.
If you fold it into the curriculum and shit, you might even be able to get some more community involvement in law enforcement, which would never be a bad thing. There you go. Throw it out there in the world. Maybe.
Yeah. And she said she should look up the public service announcement from Sandy Hook. Parents will freak you out. And I think that she's talking about the ad that we've talked about in the past, where it starts as an overly positive thing where the kids are talking about going to school and my new socks and skateboard and blah, blah, blah. And I understand, but I also think that commercial, again, continues to perpetuate the idea that at any moment your child could be murdered by someone who decides to walk in with a gun, which I don't. Certainly, it's not something you could say is impossible, but I don't think is a correct or fair way to characterize that situation, or the likelihood of someone going to school and being killed in mass murder, Yeah,
it's the same mindset that if you teach people that when they go to a movie theater, expect that somebody's going to walk in with a gun.
Right, and I think that the same idea perpetuates the same gun control ideas, we need to get rid of assault rifles. We need to get rid of, high capacity magazine, all these things that I, again, don't think will solve that problem. No. I don't think that those things, especially the way that they're written, which is an excellent transition to my next topic, right? That I don't think that those things, especially the way that they're written in modern laws, are going to be the thing that's going to change the tide, right? And so in our own state, you and I have talked about it for several episodes now, the assault weapons ban and the high capacity magazine bans that we're trying to be passed through the state legislature, right? The assault weapons ban failed, and so did the high capacity magazine ban. The high capacity magazine ban specifically because the Republicans in the legislature tacked on 120 amendments before the deadline, and so there was no time to be able to debate everything. And so afterwards, right after this mag ban fails, and I think that I just saw this yesterday.
And this is in our state house.
In our state, yes. Excuse me. After the magazine ban fails in the House, right, the Democrats go out and make a public statement about, the Republicans fucked us over, and this is dirty politics and blah, blah, blah. So then they reintroduce the same magazine ban, right? So 10 capacity. But this time they also introduce a buyback program that's involved with it. So now because it's involved, and they're going to fund it by repealing a B&O tax exemption from selling gold and silver bars and something else, some other type of,
weird.
And so they're gonna repeal that and use that money to fund this buyback.
The buyback.
And So because it has to do with the budget, it doesn't have this sunset clause where it just dies. It's alive until the end of this legislative session. And so they can continue to debate it and try and put it out until the end of the year. Instead of like a 2-month window or whatever they have when they're like a regular bill. Which I think is just as fucking dirty as tacking on 120 amendments to try and fucking stop something people don't want anyway, you know? And they've done... I've seen... any number of different studies that says that, you know, only a third of the state wants this type of stuff, and then that 2/3 of the state wants this type of stuff. I don't fucking know. You know, it depends on the people that you're asking, where you're asking them, whether they're being honest, what the options actually are, you know. There's any number of things that it could be.
2/3 versus 1/3 could be a geographical makeup versus a numbers makeup. Right. You know, I mean, you get everybody on board in Seattle and Everett and Tacoma and all this stuff in one side. You got at least a third of the state population right there.
And I just don't, it's so frustrating, right? Especially because as we sit here today, I still have not received even a single email from any of these representatives or senators that I have emailed. Not a single fucking one. Tweeted at Drew Hansen for over 2 weeks in a row. Sat here, talked about it. Carolina's tweeting about it. You're tweeting about it. No fucks given, right?
Yep.
I don't understand
what the
fuck is going on here.
I want to talk to you about during the real show, because there are some legitimate questions I think that we should address about our representative government.
Fuck yeah.
And all that kind of good stuff. So we'll definitely get into that in depth in the main show. But I will say at this point, just kind of as icing on the cake, if you will, you know, I think what has been happening here is essentially a representative government in terms of electing somebody you think holds your values and then just goes forth and does what they think is best.
Yeah.
Whether that's the not reading their
styles,
and
representation styles.
Yeah. And whether that just reflects in the representative reflecting the overall picture of the whatever party they're in at the time, or if they're actually independent thinkers, or if they're trying to actually reflect their representative population. And so I would love to talk in depth about that a little later, because I don't know what to think anymore, because you and I have both been reaching out to our state reps, not that big of a fucking area, and we can't even get the time of day.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly frustrating. You know, the state Senate seats are the same exact way. I mean, I don't get this disconnect between these people that are in office, hanging out in the Capitol, writing their party agenda down and trying to pass it off as law when they're getting pushed back directly from their representation or their constituents.
Let me add to that, right? Just as an ad, and then we'll move on. We'll do the real show. So, I bought a rifle, right? And so I went to go and pick it up yesterday. Got to the store, got to Sportsman's, and the kid is like, hey, you have to have your certificate here for the class that you took. I took the class, all legit, right? Have it, it's at home, printed out and everything. I just didn't bring it because there's nowhere online says that you have to take it. In fact, it says that you really just have to sign this form that says that under penalty of law, you've taken the class, right? So after he says that, I'm like, I don't understand, right? And he's like, yeah, so you got to come back and then you can start the process, you know, because I said, okay, so I can come back and then I can pick it up. And he said, we can come back and then you can start the process. Okay, Dick, I understand there's a fucking 10-day waiting period, but when I come back here, I can sign for the goddamn rifle, right? That's what you're fucking saying to me?
You got to remember also where you're purchasing this at.
So I got super irritated, right? And so then I went to the sheriff's office. So I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. And now I'm concerned that the information I have on this class maybe isn't good. And maybe the class I took isn't good if I got all this information in the same place, you know? So I'm with the sheriff's office because I'm in Silverdale. I'm like, can I please ask you some questions? There's a deputy right there behind the counter with the two women at the front. So I was like, I just need some help because I don't understand. You know, I was like, I don't know what the RCW number is. I say, but, you know, Initiative 1639, whatever law that turned into. So I want to know, you know, about this. So that, well, we're actually not the ones that enforce it. And so we have the same amount of information that you have about it. I said, what do you mean? I said, we don't enforce it. It's no, we don't check it. We're not the ones that's going to take licenses. We don't have anything to do with that.
Which was one of their major pushbacks against the bill because they don't have the staff to be able to run that kind of stuff.
Yep. So we don't have anything to do with that. And so we can't I don't know whether or not you have to have your certificate. I said, what do you mean you don't know? I said, so can you tell me? I said, is there some type of qualification as to what makes a legitimate class and what does not?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know. I know that you can take an online class, that it can be online, but that's all that you do. Even the copy is like, I don't know. It's like, I'm not versed in it because it's not something that we enforce. So I don't know. I have no idea about that.
Because it's probably more enforced on the retail distributors.
The FFL. Yeah. It's whoever's selling the guns. Yeah. And so I was like, I don't understand why this is happening. And the girl at the desk, she said, this is our government. This is exactly how it works is that you don't understand and we don't understand, but they want you to abide by this law.
Yep.
I'm like, so what's the fucking point? Because it frustrated me, especially because when this happened, you and I were in favor, because I agree with the safe security of guns. I agree with having them locked up so that people can't get to them who shouldn't have them, Yeah. I agree that if you can't wait 10 days for a gun, then maybe there's something else going on. Maybe you should have planned further ahead. I don't think that it's anything more than just an inconvenience.
It's a you problem at that point.
It's something that I'm willing to put up with to make sure that whatever the fuck, someone who's pissed off isn't buying someone to go and kill someone. There's any number of reasons, right? That I just don't really give a shit,
I mean, there's a lot of things just like that. That housing, you want to, let's say I got a fat stack of cash. I want to get into this apartment tomorrow.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily mean you can. There's paperwork that has to be filed. There's background checks, and at least in this state, that a lot of landlords run. Like, you may not be able to get what you want at the time. Carry that down to the firearm sales. And I wouldn't be surprised if it is focused more towards those FFL holders, the actual dealer licenses. Yep. And that could just even be a store policy where they just want to make sure that they can say that I saw that this guy had that course. We're covered.
And they said at the sheriff's office, said there's nothing wrong with you bringing it in there, said, because honestly, if you think about it, like, they don't have any way to prove that you took the class. And so they have to just take your word, which is not a safe way for them to sell a rifle, know? So I get it. It's like, I don't have a problem with bringing it in there. That's not my issue. Like, I have it already. It's not like I didn't take the class and I was trying to lie about it by not bringing my certificate. But I just didn't bring it because I didn't think I had to have it. And I didn't want to carry it around with me.
You're just looking for
until
clarity.
I made it in there. Said, but I'm irritated that I am tapped the fuck in. I'm reading shit to try. I'm doing what I can as a citizen to follow the law, and I can't fucking figure it out. And I've come to see the goddamn police, and you can't fucking tell me. That's why I'm so irritated, is that there is no clarity to a law that I'm expected to abide by, and I don't fucking understand that, Said, you have to just ask the FFLs because those are the people that will know, Said, so if you bring your certificate in there and they tell you that it's no good, then you have to ask them all these questions. Like, then what do I do? Like, what classes do I need to take? Like, what can, because who fucking knows? Because who fucking knows? But that's the store that had the gun at that price that I wanted to buy. Yep. There wasn't another store in the area that had that. I probably could have tried to order it to another FFL or something, but that's another fucking, and I don't understand. I do not understand.
Well, I think there's a disconnect in a lot of people's minds between, like, the law and the people that enforce the law.
Yeah.
They don't know all the laws. That's not exact. I mean, they can't realistically be expected to do that, right?
Right. So not all of them, but this one is high brow enough, or at least that's has enough attention to it that I'd figured that there might be someone who could fucking tell me what it means.
Yeah.
It
doesn't surprise me though at all that that's not the case, and it doesn't surprise me that you're getting attitude from sportsmen, because you can't buy anything in that store without trying to deal with somebody that is better than you. And
that's right.
It drives me nuts. I have never had a great experience.
Like, just sell me my gun, bitch.
Between the gun counter and the archery counter, I try to avoid as many questions as possible, because most of the time I know I'm either getting attitude or they're going to tell me something that even I know is objectively false. If I go in there and ask them about a hunting reg that's confusing, they're going to give me whatever their fucking opinion is. And at the end of the day, I'm still just going to call the WDFW, the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife, and get their answer. And that's another thing. Even the guys on the ground, the actual rangers on the ground, or I've had a run-in with one of them where I ended up walking out with a ticket. But
right.
But they too suffer from the same type of thing. Sometimes legislators will pass a buttload of laws in some kind of omnibus package or something like that, and they don't quite understand what it means either. And you call the fucking people who are the first line of defense in that law, that you call the Department of Fish and Wildlife, and they can't tell you right off the bat either. Something is fucking wrong. And I don't know if that's due to the legalese that's used in writing up bills and trying to get, party wins by getting this one thing technically passed so that you can go out on the stump and talk about it during your campaign or something, but you don't really care about the actual realistic implications of how that law is implemented.
Yeah.
I mean, we run into that so many times on any piece of legislature we're talking about, and so it doesn't surprise me. It's incredibly frustrating, and I'm curious what happens when you go in there next with your paper. I'm hoping that everything's legit. And if not, definitely ask them,
because I fucking paid for it already.
Yeah.
Like, it's sitting there. I already paid for it. I've already spent the money,
Mm-hmm.
And so, fuck me, man.
Well, at least now, once you get through all the bureaucratic nonsense and you can finally get it, you won't have to go in there and then, pay over hundreds and hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars, depending on what weapon you're buying.
Yeah.
That part's over. Now you just got to get through the paperwork.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I mean, in the end, I'm in favor of safe storage. You want safe storage? Start giving away gun safes. Fuck a gun lock. Give people gun safes. Give me a gun safe. I put fucking 15 guns in there. No one's going to get into it. Mm-hmm. Give me a fucking gun safe.
The more guns you have in it, the more secure it is, because nobody could carry it out. It gets too heavy.
Give me a gun safe. You know what I'm saying? They're like, oh, we're giving away gun locks with every single, every gun has to come with a gun lock now. It's like, give me a gun safe, bitch. That's what I want. Give me a gun safe.
So let's just assume that a solid gun case safe for four guns, right? 4 long guns.
Yeah.
Is like
a shelf for a couple pistols.
Maybe like $600.
Yeah.
Right. Would you be willing to pay $500 more for your weapon if they included that $600 gun safe?
I don't know about that.
I mean, I'd be interested in a package deal, but not if I had to.
I feel like there is somewhere where some of my tax money is going that it could go to safes instead of that, and we'd all be better off, That's what I think. Because
then you're going to have to pay more than $30 for your car tabs.
Because the way that it's fucking set up now, that you can take these stupid-ass online classes and then still go and buy it and whatever the fuck. Like, I don't know how that's supposed to... I don't know. That's not going to keep us safe. Give me a gun safe, bitch. Anyway, we're out of here. This is the end of the pre-show. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, everyone who was here. It's episode 79. We're about to hit this regular episode. Tomorrow's Jordan's birthday. Happy birthday, baby. Tomorrow, we're going to go out tonight. Anyone who's joining us, fucking see you there at the garage. About to get Liddy Titty. We're going Fady Perry, Katie Couric, Fady Couric. We're out here. Thank you. Twitter, Salt of the Street. Big Bird Offie, Instagram, Facebook, Salt of the Streets, saltofthestreets.com. Monday episode.